I still remember the exact moment my heart cracked open in front of 30 people who were supposed to love me. "Happy 35th, Elias," my sister Clara said, her voice sweet as poison honey, sliding a crisp white envelope across the table toward me. "This one's from all of us." The room, my parents' backyard strung with fairy lights, laughter thick in the warm summer air, went quiet just long enough for everyone to lean in. My wife Lena was beside me, our youngest, Mia, asleep on her shoulder. Noah, 9, stood tall with the card he'd made me, careful watercolor tractors, and our old border collie. Sophie, 7, clutched Lena's hand, wide eyes shining under the string lights. Clara waited until every phone was up, until Mom's smile was brightest, until Dad's beer was half raised in a toast. Then she nodded at Sophie. "Go on, sweetheart," Clara cooed. "Read it for Daddy." Sophie's small fingers trembled as she opened the envelope. She squinted at the single line printed in bold. $42,000 for everything we've ever given you. The backyard exploded. Actual cheers. Uncle Ray slapped the table. Cousins hooted. Someone yelled, "About time." Mom beamed like Clara had just cured cancer. Dad chuckled, "Better open that wallet, son." I felt the blood drain from my face, but I didn't move. I just watched my daughter's lips press into that thin, brave line she makes when she's trying not to cry. Noah looked at me like I'd done something shameful. Mia stirred, confused by the noise. Clara threw her arms up like she'd scored the winning goal. Her husband Victor stood behind her, smug in his pressed linen shirt, nodding along like this was justice. But that wasn't the worst of it. See, I'd spent the last 12 years being the quiet engine that kept my family running. I'm a third-generation farmer, dust in my lungs, calluses that never go away, nights staring at weather apps praying the hail misses us. Lena and I built a life on this land, raised 3 kids who know the smell of turned soil and the sound of rain on a tin roof. And for 12 years, every time someone needed something, really needed it, or just wanted it, I was the one they called. Clara's destination, wedding in Napa, I covered the venue when the deposits fell through. Their starter house in the city, I gifted the down payment so Victor wouldn't feel emasculated. The SUV that was essential for client meetings, financed in my name when their credit tanked. Mom's medical bills after Dad's insurance lapsed, paid. Dad's new tractor when the old one died mid-harvest, paid. Clara's maternity leave that somehow stretched into 2 years of finding herself, paid. I kept every receipt, every canceled check, every promissory note they signed and never honored. I told myself it was love. Family takes care of family, right? But love doesn't usually come with a public billing. That night, after the cheers died down and Clara basked in the applause, I stood up slowly. My legs felt like fence posts sunk in wet clay. I walked to the gift table, picked up the thick black binder I'd brought. No ribbon, no bow, just metal rings and plastic sleeves, and carried it back. The laughter faded into awkward coughs. I set the binder down in the middle of the dessert table, right next to the untouched sheet cake that said Happy 35th, Elias, in blue icing. "Funny thing," I said, voice low but carrying in the sudden quiet. I brought receipts too. I opened it. The first page was a summary. $487,000 in itemized transfers, loans, and direct payments over 12 years. Clara's smile flickered. Victor shifted beside her. I turned the page. "Your wedding," I said, looking straight at Clara. "Venue, catering, photographer, the string quartet you added last minute because the vibe fell off." I slid copies across the table. People leaned away like the numbers might burn them. Next page. "Your house. Down payment, closing costs, the interest-only bridge loan you swore you'd refinance after Victor's promotion." Victor's face went the color of skim milk. Next. 2 vehicles. Daycare for 3 years. Mom and Dad's roof after the ice storm. Dad's heart procedure copay. The cruise they took last spring to recover from stress. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The numbers spoke louder than any shouting ever could. Clara tried to laugh it off. "Elias, come on, this is ridiculous." But Victor cut her off, voice cracking. That can't be right." From the shadows near the patio, A man none of them recognized stood up. Gray suit, no drink, watching everything like he'd been waiting for his cue. "It's very right," he said calmly. "I'm Mr. Harlan. Elias retained me last month. Several of these transactions were formalized as loans, with interest and deadlines." You could hear the crickets again. Harlan stepped forward. "Mr. and Mrs. Hale, you have 72 hours to acknowledge the demand letter, or we proceed with filing." Mom's mouth opened, closed. Dad stared at his shoes. I looked at my kids. Sophie was crying silently now. Noah's jaw was clenched so tight, I thought it might break. Mia had woken up and was hiding her face in Lena's neck. That was my limit. I knelt down, gently slid the silly paper VIP bracelets off each of my children's wrists. The ones Clara had given them as invitations to some exclusive after-party none of us had been told about, and tucked them into my pocket. Then I took Lena's hand, gathered my family, and walked through the silent backyard to our truck. We didn't slam doors. We didn't flip tables. We just left. But the real ending didn't happen under those fairy lights. It happened 3 nights later at 2:17 a.m. when I sat alone at our kitchen table with the laptop open. Lena was asleep upstairs with the kids. The house was quiet except for the hum of the fridge and the occasional creak of old wood. Settling. I logged into every account. Canceled the automatic transfer to my parents' mortgage supplement. Canceled the monthly allowance to Clara that she'd called temporary support. Removed my name from the joint savings account Dad had talked me into for emergencies. Froze the line of credit I'd co-signed for Victor's failed side business. Every click felt like cutting a root that had wrapped around my lungs for years. By sunrise, the messages started. "Mom, this is cruel. Dad, you're breaking your mother's heart. Clara, you're trying to destroy us." Victor left a voicemail, voice shaking. "We can negotiate. Please." I didn't answer any of them. On the 4th day, Victor showed up alone at the end of our driveway. No Clara, no brevado, just a man who looked like he hadn't slept. I met him by the mailbox. He didn't try to argue the numbers. He just said, quiet, "She told me you were the one who always needed help. That your farm would have failed without us." I let that hang in the air between us. Then I said, "And now you know the truth." He nodded, eyes on the ground. "What do you want, Elias?" I thought of Sophie reading that bill out loud while adults laughed. I thought of Noah's face when he realized the room was against his dad. I thought of every time I told myself it was fine. They'd pay me back. They'd love my kids the same. I looked Victor dead in the eye. I want my family to be more than a line item on someone else's balance sheet. He swallowed hard. "We'll repay it. In installments. Whatever you need." I shook my head. "I don't want your money anymore. I want my peace." And I turned and walked back to the house. That was 6 months ago. Some bridges burned. Others just quietly crumbled. My parents haven't spoken to me since. Clara blocked me on everything. Victor sent one certified check, small, but a start, and then nothing. But my kids laugh louder now. Sophie draws pictures of our farm, with all of us in the center, not pushed to the edge. Noah asks questions about money, about boundaries, about what family really means. And every night, when I tuck them in, I know I finally chose them over being useful. So here's my question to you, because I still think about it sometimes in the quiet hours before dawn. If the people who raised you, who share your blood, treated your children like props in their story, could you walk away? Or would you keep paying, hoping one day they'd finally see your worth? Tell me in the comments. Because some days I still wonder if I did the right thing, or if I just finally stopped letting them do the wrong one. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe for more stories.